Hello and welcome to the Fourth Down Podcast. We are your hosts, as always. My name is Alex.
My name is Mickey.
And today we're going to be going over the AFC South as opposed the opposite of the NFC South. Should be another interesting year for that division. The Titans, who knows? But last season the Jacksonville Jaguars won that division at 9-8. And as always, we're going to go through a little bit of off-season transactions for each team. And we're going to jump from the bottom to the top. So let's just dive into this. As the first team in fourth place, we got the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, they lost Matt Ryan. They acquired Anthony Richardson. They didn't really do a whole lot in the offseason. I think they got Isaiah McKenzie too, which could help a little bit. But, not a whole lot of noise happening for the Indianapolis Colts in this 2023 offseason. But Anthony Richardson is projected to be a stud, and I hope he is. He definitely has the talent and potential. So we'll just have to wait and see. But, as always, in any prediction, we're going to break down every game from Week 1 to Week 18 real briefly. And we're going to give them their record prediction. So, jump right in. We have their opening game hosting the Jaguars. We have that as a loss. And their next two, they're on the road at Houston, at Baltimore. We think there's going to be losses as well. Then they get a few wins against the Rams and the Titans at home. And in Week 6, going at Jacksonville. That's a loss. Cleveland home, loss. Saints home, loss. At the Panthers, win. At New England, loss. Bye week. A Week 11 bye week. And then Tampa Bay at home, loss. At Titans, loss. At Bengals, loss. Pretty much all loss except for last week. Pittsburgh home. At Atlanta, loss. Las Vegas home, L. And I do have them finishing the season against the Texans, winning. So that gives them a 4-13 record. So,
Indianapolis is a team that's rebuilding a lot. They have a new coach. Their QB situation is, I don't even know what. And there's just a lot going on for them. So, they really are in a rebuild. And they have pieces to make it work. I just don't know if they will. And that's how a lot of the teams in this division are.
And see, that's the crazy thing. Indianapolis is such a good team. They have well-built talent on them. Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman. The defense, too, with Shaquille Leonard. Used to have a bunch of great guys. They had Stephon Gilmore, but they traded him to Dallas this past offseason. So, I've always thought Indianapolis was a team that, quarterbacks would love to go there. I know Andrew Luck would say otherwise because he retired, but I think Indianapolis has a well-rounded team that they can make.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing Indianapolis needs is a solid head coach.
And Shane Steichen, the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator, is coming there, which I think can help elevate that too. And again, there's a lot of games on here which I think the Colts could actually win, but I think in the first 3 weeks, I think Anthony Richardson's gonna struggle because it's adjusting to NFL. But I think that at Jacksonville Week 6 and beyond, I think it could be games where he might flip a switch. Cleveland, I think he could win. Tampa Bay could win. At New England, depending on what Mac Jones we see, that could be a win. This team could honestly go, I'm going to give them a high ceiling of 8 and 9.
This team has all the pieces to win, to have a winning season even, to go, even more than 8 and 9. I don't know if they're going to be able to put it together.
Yeah, so I think this year is going to be more getting everything going, see what Anthony Richardson has. They did sign Gardner Minshew too, so we'll see what goes there. But I think it's going to be more of we'll see what he got, and we'll go from there. But I think overall with the schedule, I do like the schedule. I think it's not a bad schedule. A lot of easy opponents that I think they could win, but I think they're honestly a couple losses. Yeah, any final thoughts on the Colts?
I really want the Colts to do well, but I just don't know if they can pull it together this year.
Oh, they will do well because we have them going 4-13. So they'll go 9-8.
Yeah, you're probably well. We have them last in the division, so they're gonna win the division. That's.
A team. Speaking of a team that could make some noise, in third place we have the Houston Texans. Now the Houston Texans, they had a tremendous offseason. They got they got Robert Woods, C.J. Stroud, Will Anderson just signed to a deal. I believe they got Shaq Mason from the Bucks, and I mean they got D'Amico Ryans as a head coach, which I really love that, the former Houston Texans player. But I think Houston they had a home run offseason. I think I really like them. I really like C.J. Stroud. But let's break down the schedule too. We do have them in third place. They're gonna open the season at Baltimore. I think this will be a loss, tough place to play, especially Lamar Jackson. Week 2 against the Colts at home, win. At Jacksonville, loss. The next 3 games after that are gonna be losses. Steelers home loss. At Falcons loss. Saints loss, and then the bye week. They're gonna be 1-5. And then at Panthers loss. Tampa Bay loss. At Cincy loss. And then the Cardinals and the Jaguars, 2 games at home. Actually, next 3 games at home, including the Cardinals, Jacksonville, Jaguars, and Denver Broncos. I have them winning 3 straight. Then I have them losing on the road against the Jets, Titans, losing at home against the Browns, winning against the Titans at home. And at the Colts, I have them losing, which that brings them a total to a 5-12 record. Which, I mean, it's not bad for the Houston Texans. This team that I think won 2-13-1 last season, or 3-12-1. I don't know. But in this schedule too, like there's a couple games I think they could flip. Like Tampa Bay could be a flip, Cleveland flip, and even like the Indianapolis game too. I think Houston's ceiling is like a 9-8 record too, maybe 10-7, depending on how C.J. Stroud and them develop. But yeah, I think 5-12 is a good record for them, knowing that they have, you know.
Is Houston ever going to be out of a rebuild?
It's looking that way this season.
Because, I mean, it would be nice to see them make some noise. And they might. Or it might take them a couple more seasons before they get there. But I think if they can develop C.J. Stroud, I think they could be pretty solid.
And he's got weapons too. He got Robert Woods. You know, I mean, they just traded Brandon Cooks away to Dallas. I mean, they got Damian Pierce, who's been a stud at running back. They got Shaq Mason to help with the line. D'Amico Ryans, the head coach, is tremendous for C.J. Stroud. I think that's a great pickup.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have potential. And that's the thing is, all of these teams have potential. It's just going to be seeing how they perform.
And then getting on the defensive side, you got Will Anderson. They did pick up Jimmy Ward, which I like that pickup too. A little bit of D'Amico Ryans' defense. Cornerback for the San Francisco 49ers. So I think the culture in Houston is changing. I think not this season, but the following season, Houston can make a noise for a potential wild card spot, especially in this division too. I mean, hot take, but I don't believe any of these teams are going to be Super Bowl bound, and at least this season. And I'm going to get to obviously, later in the predictions, but Houston's 5-12. They have a lot of potential. Like I said, a lot of games on there. I think they could be flipping. Steelers game, Falcons. They could be easily a 9-8, 10-7 team if the players around them play well. If C.J. Stroud can get in the groove early on, could be like a Patrick Mahomes, maybe even a Justin Herbert type player. But I like him at 5-12. I was gonna go higher, maybe 7-10, but I think 5-12 is a safe record bet for them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Going from Texas to Tennessee.
Yeah, in the second place, we got the Tennessee Titans with a 6-11 record. They fell apart. But honestly, I don't think Tennessee's overrated as many people do think. Last season, even after A.J. Brown was traded, I think they were like 7-5, 7 and something. Then Tannehill got hurt. And then the Titans went on a losing streak because they can't win without Tannehill. I think Ryan Tannehill's not a bad quarterback. He's not great, but he's not bad. He's just in between.
Well, and I say this all the time. You don't need a Hall of Fame quarterback to win a game if you have good pieces around him, And if your quarterback is the only reason you're winning games, then you don't have a good team.
Yeah, I mean, if Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill are pretty much the main source on the offensive side. They did lose Taylor Lewan. Who knows what's going to happen to Derrick Henry this upcoming season, whether they're going to trade or not. But I think the Titans need to take a step back. Yeah, let's break down the schedule real quick. Not a whole lot going on with their offseason moves, too. Like I said, they lost Robert Woods. They did sign Sean Murphy-Bunn, cornerback, and they did release Bud Dupree. They signed Nick Westbrook. But let's break down our schedule real quick for the Titans. So they start the season at New Orleans. That's going to be a loss. Then they play against the Chargers at home. I think that's going to be a win for them. And their next 4 games, at Cleveland, Bengals home, at Colts, and Ravens home, I think are going to be losses. So I have the Titans starting off 1-5. Then they have a bye week. Then they play the Falcons at home. That's a loss. Then they go 3 straight games on the road. At Steelers, at Bucks, at Jags, losses. Carolina home, loss. Colts home, win. At Dolphins, loss. Texans home, win. Seattle home, win. At Houston, loss. And Jacksonville Jaguars home, win. Which that brings obviously a 6-11 record, but again, I don't know what kind of team Tennessee Titans are going to be looking like this season. They were the number 1 seed a few years back. They're not a bad team. I don't think they're a horrible team, but they're not a great team. They're just in the middle of the pack. They could potentially go 8-9, 9-8. I want to put them a little higher, but I know people. I mean, I don't care. Everyone has opinions, but I know people will be like saying, "Oh, Titans are this," but they're not really like a bad team. Like Tennessee was 7-5 before Tano got hurt, with pretty much the same team except for Taylor Lewan and a few other guys. And yes, their schedule is a little bit easier at Cleveland, at Tampa Bay. Heck, I think they could even sweep the Jacksonville Jaguars, honestly. Those games, they could honestly flip from 6-11 to 9-8. But, again, we'll see what Tannehill does.
See, and Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee, they're all teams that are just hard to predict because a lot of people kind of count these teams out, and I understand, and you could.
But I will say, though, I didn't mean to interrupt, but with Tennessee, what they got going on, they have a great head coach in Mike Vrabel. I know we can't really win the big games, but I think we have a great coach. That makes your team better, obviously.
Yeah, I think you can't.
But I think with the schedule, you could easily flip from 6-11, 9-8.
Yeah. I mean, a good coach is, you don't understand how much that impacts the team. Like
look at Mike Tomlin. Never had a losing season. And look at some of the season Mike Tomlin had. He had nobody, and he still managed to go 9-8 or 9-7, just because he's that great of a coach.
Well, look at Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Patrick Mahomes would have been a stud wherever he went, but
with Andy Reid, and it does help a little bit to have Alex Smith, a veteran quarterback, at home. But Andy Reid, he's. Overall, it's just great to have a really good coach, and we think Mike Vrabel with Tennessee can definitely jump them from 6-11, 9-8, and potentially win a division. I think Tennessee has a good shot at winning the division if they can play. If Tannehill comes back to what he was like in 2019, 2020, because Derrick Henry's going to rush for almost 2,000 yards every season. We don't know when that gas is going to start going down a bit. He is getting a little older for a running back. He's still young, but for a running back, he's getting a little older. But we'll see what happens. And finally, the division champs, according to predictions, are the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, hot take, but personally, I think Jacksonville got a little lucky with the division crown last season because the Titans were injured. They were 7-5. I get it. Next man up. I get it. But Jacksonville did not look great. They looked great towards the end of the season, including the playoff game against the Chargers. Well, they didn't really look great in the first 3 quarters, but Jacksonville's a team that hopefully they can carry into the next wave. So, who do we have? Or what? The Jacksonville Jaguars. We have the record at 9-8. Their first 3 games wins at Texans. I think the Chiefs get upset by the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's in Jacksonville. I always believe in revenge games. Houston, I think they win. And their next 2, Falcons at Buffalo, I think are losses. Colts at home win. And their next 2 games, at Saints, at Steelers, I think they're going to be wins. Head into bye week with a 6-2 record. Then it gets a little tight. 49ers in Jacksonville, loss. Titans, Jacksonville, win. At the Texans, I think Texans win that game. Bengals home, loss. At Cleveland, loss. Ravens home, win. At Bucks, win. But I do have their last 2 games being losses to the Panthers and at the Tennessee Titans, giving them a 9-8 record.
Yeah, I can see that. Again, with all these teams, they have potential to do better and they have potential to do worse.
Oh, I forgot to talk about so the Jacksonville Jaguars didn't really have much in the offseason. They lost Jawan Taylor, one of their tackles, to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that was pretty much it for the Jags. They released Shaquille Griffin, lost a little bit of their defense. But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what we got for the Jacksonville Jaguars with a 9-8 record. Now, again, flip games that can improve. I think Falcons could be a flip game. Same with Cleveland, Carolina. They could potentially jump as high as 12 wins. I don't think they're going to win anymore. I personally think 9-8, 10-7 is the perfect record for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think they're there yet. Again, we'll see if last season was a magical run or if they're the real deal. And especially with this division too, like there's not really a whole lot of competition except for Tennessee Titans. But I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville, Tennessee is going to be like last season, a winning in for those teams. So standings, I think I may have forgotten to update it. Nope, we're good. So for the standings again, for the AFC South, we have the Colts with a 4-13 record, the Houston Texans with a 5-12 record, the Tennessee Titans with a 6-11 record, and the Jacksonville Jaguars with a 9-8 record. Overall, looking to be a very tight division. We just want to get the South divisions out of the way because they're not the most competitive. We're saving the best ones for last, which is the NFC East and the AFC East.
Yeah, but these ones are fun to look at as well because you just want these teams to do well, but you don't know how they're going to play. And again, these are teams, and it's the same way with the NFC South, is any of them could do well and any of them could do poorly. And I know that goes for any team, but it's just going to be interesting to see the dynamics that make it work or make it not work.
Yeah, and one last thing too before we head out. Just because you have like a losing record one division doesn't mean like you can't make some noise at playoffs. We found out many times, but this should be a fun division. Like I said, I would watch out for the Texans in this scenario because I think Houston, they can click at the right moment. I think they can go on a nice stretch. But I think Jacksonville at Tennessee will come down to being like a win and in for one of those teams.
Yeah, and just because you have a losing season doesn't mean your team isn't developing or getting better, especially if you have a rookie QB or a new coach.
Yeah, that's the thing that's going to come down to. Half the starting quarterbacks are rookie QBs. You know, one's a third-year starting QB, and the other one's a quarterback starting since 2012. So, but we'll see. That's pretty much it for this episode. We're going to be doing the AFC West next, which that should be fun. So, again, we appreciate all the love and support. especially in the last couple episodes. We got a good amount of people watching those last few episodes, so we appreciate all the love and support. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram under Fourth Down, and be sure to watch out for Spotify.
In like a year or two.
Yeah, maybe 5 years, but we'll get that soon. So, all right, guys, appreciate all the love and support. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.
Bye.